This is the Big Woods Bucks podcast. Come explore the big woods and timber in North America with your host, Maine Master Guide and deer tracking expert Hal Blood. Listen to Hal and co-hosts Lee Libby and Joe Cruzy as they unlock the secrets of big woods whitetails. Each episode will provide valuable insights into the tried and true system Hal has used for the last 40 years to scout, locate, and hunt mature big woods bucks. Listen and laugh as the crew discusses Hal's legendary adventures and learn how to apply a lifetime's worth of lessons from the big woods to your own hunting and outdoor adventures.
Welcome to the Big Woods Bucks podcast. I'm your host, Hal Blood, sitting over here in Rangeley, Maine at Maine Mountain Millworks with Lee Libby, the owner.
Hey, Hal.
And Joe Cruzy.
Hello.
We made the drive this morning over to Rangeley, and we wanted to check out
the new showroom.
The new showroom. He's got custom-made cedar beds in here and all kinds of goodies.
Nice stuff. We walked in, and the first thing Lee said is, "Don't you know who I am?"
Yeah.
No, the first thing I said was wipe your feet.
That's going to be the title of this podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So it's finally spring here in Maine, huh? We never thought there's actually still some snow around places and patches in the mountains and stuff.
Yep.
Yep. I see the big patch up on Johnson Mountain. You can still see it from the highway there on that backside of that cut where it drifts.
Yeah, I had a crew out doing trail maintenance this weekend, and they were on top of East Kennebago, and they said there was still a foot of snow up there in spots.
Doing trail work already.
Doing trail work already. Yeah, wow. When you're the number one club in the state, Joe, you know.
Oh, my God. This guy.
Well, you know,
he doesn't even show up to podcasts. He's been MIA for the past.
Yeah. He's been on vacation.
I know, and I saw the complaints.
He's always got an excuse.
Yeah.
But anyways, still snow.
What kind of trail work you guys out doing?
Well, we are just cutting brush and cutting big trees, trying to widen the trails out. Because, with 5 machines that are all 10 feet wide, I'm just digging here a little bit, Joe.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. No, some of the trails grow in.
I'm waiting on my $3,500 parts cap to get here from Wyoming right now.
We have a saw that goes on the front of the big piston bully, but it only gets the little limbs. Sometimes we got to go cut them big dead things that we know are going to be a problem, later on, and get them done early now while it's still cool out. And the ATV trails don't actually open till the 1st, but we got permission from landowners to go out and do it, so that helps.
Yeah, ATV trails around our way, everything's closed. I don't even know if they have an open date yet.
Yeah, the first for us.
Yeah, it probably
By the time
is.
this airs, they should be open.
Probably.
It's been wet. Jesus.
Yeah. Still is supposed to be showery today. It's supposed to be showery the next few days again. But.
Stop it. Stop. I still own a roofing company.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, I'm starting my carpentering job on Monday.
Nice.
Yeah, I saw PJ this morning at the bakery. I said, I'm all set to start Monday if you want. And he goes, yep, I start anytime you want. And I said, he said, Monday, he said, we'll probably be on a roofing. And I go, I said, thanks, that's a good way to break me in.
I just said, I'll be there Wednesday.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you were working with PJ.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep, good.
Yeah.
I tried to get him come over here and make furniture, but he said he wasn't ready for semi-retirement, so.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a long commute over here to work, but
you'll live here eventually.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I can't afford to live over here.
I told him last week on the phone. I says, you ain't getting any younger, and I'm not going to drive to Jackman to take care of your ass. So you're going to have to gravitate this way.
He's training me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've already taught him how to wipe the drool off my mouth.
Talk about losing all humility.
Yeah. And wiping other things, too. So,
shit.
Yeah. So, Joe's been goofing off since the lodge closed after snowmobile season.
Is that what we classify it as, goofing off?
Yeah, looking for moose antlers.
Serious business.
Oh, no, that's serious because you get money for them things.
Shed hunting is serious business.
How many you got so far?
Not many.
Wow.
Oh, it's rough season.
There's a gal in town right here who's got 109 so far.
Yeah, she's got a dog too, I'm sure, right?
Well, maybe.
Yeah. That's the new thing now.
It is a new thing. I know there's 3 guys in town that have dogs, and they do real well, plus her.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I think she does better than all the guys, though.
Yeah. I just talked to a kid he's from New Hampshire, Vermont. But anyways, he was up north for a couple weeks or something, or a couple weeks ago, and he got 90.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
They weren't all new ones, they always find a bunch of old ones too. But,
Yeah.
but that's a pretty good haul, I think they're paying, last year they were paying $13 a pound.
14. Is it 15 now?
I know guys that are paying 15.
I heard
yep.
14.
Yep.
That's why they're hard to find. Everybody's out there doing it.
Should we be talking about this? It's already hard enough,
Yeah.
But it is something how it's changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, why not?
I mean,
you're going to have to get a dog if you want
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
They just cover so
I've been
much more
shopping
ground.
a little bit. It's just, that would be dog number 3 in my house, and that's a big hurdle.
Yeah.
I was lucky to get number 2, and I went towards the bird variety instead of the shed variety when I got them. And as much as I love my dogs, a shed hunting lab would be just right.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have trained Sophie a little bit. We got her right when we were moving and stuff, and I never did. But she ain't got. She'll go over and sniff them, but she won't tell me they're around. She pays no attention to them, so that ain't gonna work out for me.
No.
Yep, get them started young, I guess. And
Yeah.
but they get big money for the trained dogs, but really, if you were serious about it, they pay for themselves pretty quick.
Oh
Yeah. No, I think you could train a dog pretty easy. One of the guys in town said he just gives it. The only toy the dog's ever had was an antler.
Yeah.
So.
I know some of the guys, they give them a treat when they find one, and other guys throw a tennis ball for them. That's what they're into. If they find an antler, they throw a tennis ball, and that's the happiness of the dog,
Yeah.
There's a bunch of antler hunters that have dogs that are rolling their eyes right now. Listen to these amateurs talking about shed dogs.
We probably don't even know the truth. They probably, I don't know.
Well, I know it's changed a lot since I've been shed hunting. It used to be, obviously moose numbers are different, and
Yeah. Well, you don't
the
have
number of people that are searching, and antlers have a market now.
Yeah.
It's not just furniture.
Yeah.
The dog chew market is crazy, and which is it's great in my opinion because it's just a renewable resource that is there every year.
Right.
And
I remember Garnett told me one time when he was just a kid, his father was like a tax assessor for the state for the unorganized townships, and he used to go with his father, and they'd be driving in the spring these roads, and stuff to get the old camps to assess them and stuff. If there was a moose antler in the road, his job was to jump out and throw it out of the road. They didn't even pick it up and keep it. They just threw them out of the road so they didn't get a flat tire on.
yeah, now Garnett's coming through every weekend. Or actually, he runs during the week.
Yeah, probably wishes he had all the ones he threw out of the road.
Yeah, he's one of those guys I'm competing with out there all the time.
Yeah.
It is funny. It turns into, it's serious business. Guys, locals don't want anyone to talk about it.
Right.
It's
Right.
It's
Yeah, and then they lie to you when you ask them where you're going, and they're lying because you saw them somewhere different.
Yeah.
yeah.
I would never do that, but
No.
most of the guys do.
Yeah, who's going to share information like that?
Right. It's like sharing your favorite deer spot, like Hal
Same
does.
thing.
Yeah.
And you get a guy like Matt that goes around. Matt reads tracks. He knows the tire tread of everyone in town.
Yeah.
He'll tell you where you've been.
Yeah.
And he's pretty damn accurate too.
I don't have to tell everybody my favorite spots, Lee. You do it for me.
Yeah, because I learned a long time ago.
Hal's been so relieved that you haven't been on the last few podcasts because he's been able to keep a few secrets.
Remember what you used to tell me? Oh, don't worry, Lib. They won't go in there anyways. And I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Joe was goofing off there. I had to work all month doing my deer clinics.
Oh, yeah. That went good, though.
Yeah, it was really good. I had 3 groups and all nice bunch of guys every week, and they went in and was excited to learn how to find signpost rubs. I think that's the biggest thing for people, that they've read about it, and I started writing about the signposts and significance of them, but still a lot of people would have trouble finding them. Some guys would find one, or maybe they'd find a couple, but they really couldn't find a lot of them. And what I found out by taking these guys is they're really just randomly looking through the woods, or maybe they looking in the wet spots and stuff, but they're not really looking. They're looking in a too broad of an area. I think that's the way I'd put it, instead of zeroing it down. So the easiest way I found to zero it down for them was yellow grass. I said, look for the yellow grass, and they're like, yellow grass? Because that yellow grass in the woods, it grows even like, you'll see it like in the hardwoods or anywheres, in a ravine that's wet because trees don't grow there, but that yellow grass will grow there. And almost always when you find a signpost rub, it'll be associated with that yellow grass around. Almost every time. So that was an easy way to show them, how to look. If you look way down through the woods and you see some yellow grass, it doesn't, this time of year, it doesn't show up as good because it's all flat to the ground. You can see it's tan colored, but it really looks, it's standing up and it's real yellowy in the fall there when you're looking. But yeah, we had a good time. Yeah,
weather was okay for those.
Oh yeah, it was great. It rained all 3 weekends, but and actually it was showery and rainy. I remember one of the days though we did a lot of it, especially in the morning, right in the tent because it was pouring. But we got out. We got over to, I call it Signpost City. It's one of the places I take the guys way back in, but it's a place that it's probably the best signpost place that I've ever found as far as it's a continuous place. It's not like there's a couple signposts in one spot, but there's a ravine over there, runs down right off the top of a ridge. It's kind of an odd place because usually when you have a ridge, some of the ridges are green on the top and then it's hardwoods down the sides. Well, this one, you walk up through the hardwoods right to the top of the ridge. And as soon as you get to the top, it turns green and the other side is all green down the other side. It's kind of crazy that way, but for a long ways, and then eventually you'll hit into some hardwoods and stuff. But as soon as you pick up a trickle on the other side, you walk any one of them trickles on the other side, and you'll start seeing brown ash rubs and then signposts. But there's one in particular that makes down into a time it gets into the hardwoods. It's a pretty good flow, not a big stream, but a pretty good trickle. But that area is probably, when you get down out of the real thick stuff, it's got to be at least a quarter of a mile of various signposts down through there. It's the craziest place I've ever seen. It's what I would call it's the hub of the wheel where bucks are coming from, every direction in there to that place.
Any idea how many bucks have been killed in that area over the years with the guys that hunt out there?
None. Any? There's been none because it's really far back in, and most of the guys that they haven't hunted there because, quite frankly, until they get good in the woods, I don't even tell them about going over there, because it's pretty wild country still, But one guy last fall missed one. He was going, I told him kind of how to get over there, and he just got into that green stuff, and he was poking along on the bare ground first week of the season, and he's poking down through there, and I think he was tipping his can call or something once in a while, bleating, and he looked down and through the softwood, and he could see a deer down there, and it went through an open. He could see a good horns on it, We tipped his can again, and he said the thing started coming right up towards him, and he's waiting, and it kept going behind firs and in the opening behind firs, and then he finally sees his chance coming. He says he takes a step to one side to get a better clearing, and when he did, a doe jumps out 20 yards from him, didn't even know it was there, and snorted, and the buck whirled and took off, and he never got a shot at it.
Wow.
Yeah, he said it was the biggest. He says the biggest rack buck he'd ever seen. He said it was a friggin' monster, So, anyways, yeah, they're over there.
I'll be over there this year.
Yeah, I bet you will.
I'm all done hunting Rangeley. Ain't no deer around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
you shot the last one last fall.
Yeah.
Wasn't there supposed to be a video posted, or is that going to be posted by the time this airs?
Yeah, what's up with that, Lee?
So this is what happened.
Because I'm sick of seeing the questions about it, to be quite honest with you.
I'm not sick of it because I did kind of promise it, and so here's where we're at.
I know why you're not sick of it. You're like, look, everyone wants to see my video.
No.
About.
Do you know who I am?
No. So the fellow that shot the video is a younger fella, and this is what he does for a living. He shoots videos, not particularly like this, but videos. So when we first started talking about, because we're always looking for good cameramen, so I met him, we got talking about it, blah, blah, blah. So he sent me an estimated cost of $8,000 to $12,000 to do this. And I didn't even respond, because to me, that's just, out in left field. So it goes on for about 3 weeks, and then sends me a text message and says, listen, I'm going to do this little documentary series about interesting people in northern Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont area.
So he asked if you knew anyone?
Yeah. So he says, this might fit into something that I was thinking about doing. So he said it would relieve some of the costs. So we came up with a price. And I just soon not say what it cost me, but it wasn't $8,000 to $12,000, but it was still a good chunk of money. So in my mind, I figured we'd shoot the video, and then he'd put it all together, and he was paid in full, and I'd get my video, and we'd air it. So we had discussed along the way that neither one of us wanted any money out of it, because it was a really good video, and in the end, it's kind of a funny way, because he's a very liberal-minded person, and I hired him for that reason, because I wanted to see what the other side saw of us, people that spend time in the woods tracking and killing deer. And it just went together great. It went together so great that he thinks it's film festival material, which would promote his business and himself.
The Maine Outdoor Film Festival?
I don't know what he's looking for film festivals, but we haven't talked much in the last month, because the last conversation was not very friendly. So he put it up on Vimeo. We started to share it, and after about 24 hours, less than 100 people have seen this. He pulls it down off Vimeo and says, I'll release it again for the amount of XYZ.
Wow. And this is the first I'm hearing all this. This is good stuff. This is
So the conversations that followed that was not really nice. So I let it rest for a couple weeks, and then I sent him an email, and we have agreed recently to continue talks via email so that everything's documented. It's not he said, you know what I mean, type of thing. So I don't know. I mean, you know how you get so disgusted with something, you just want to throw your arms up and say the heck with it. But at the same time, I want people to see it. So I think what's going to happen is my thoughts now, and I probably shouldn't share all my thoughts, but my thoughts are give him till the end of September to get it into the film festivals. Let him do what he thinks. Hopefully it does promote his business. You know what I mean? That's great. He is a young fella. And then after that, we take possession of it. That would be about the fairest thing, I think, that I feel would be for both parties. But I need that video. In my sense, I've invested a lot of money into it, you know.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if you remember this case, but last year, the year before, there was a monkey that grabbed a guy's camera or phone and took a selfie of itself. The monkey did.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that owned the phone wanted the rights because it was the funny picture and it got all kinds of shares and it was real popular. The owner of the monkey said, no, it's the monkey's rights, and the monkey, I will decide because I own the monkey. And a judge ruled that because the monkey was the one that took the picture, that he did have the rights to the photo and that it does not go to the necessarily the owner of the camera. It goes to the person that takes the video.
Really? Yeah.
So
well, that's good. That's good, Joe. Thanks for that. But
so,
but I think
all I could think of was a monkey analogy,
right,
but
because you're looking right at me. So the video is 17 minutes long, and I do have some experience with the film industry. It's limited, but I do have some producer credits. I've been around it. I don't think a 17-minute short is going to promote that much for this guy at the film festival. It may not. It is a pretty good film. So the unfortunate thing is that the people that seen it that actually work for Big Woods, some of the pro staff guys who have the money to pay were like, hey, I want this guy to do me next year. Let's sign him up. You know, so the potential work was there. I think he missed out on that, but who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe he's the next Steven Spielberg, and I don't even know it.
Well, he's probably. My guess is he's looking at the Maine Outdoor Film Festival, which is a great platform for that video. But this is I guess is one of those deals where the deal is always made in the beginning,
Right.
and it's a good lesson learned, I think, for everyone, because you never think things are going to go down that road, and it doesn't. If it was a crappy film, you wouldn't even be having this discussion.
No.
You'd
Be wondering why you spent the money. Why did I spend that money?
But it better be good, because when it finally does come out, everyone's going to be wanting to see it.
Yeah, and it is good.
It is. It's a good film.
Yeah,
it's got a good ending on it,
and the best part about it is I don't even speak 10 words, but the 10 words I speak actually mean something. That's the best part of it.
Yeah.
Well, I think like you said, Joe, the deal was the deal, but the guy broke the deal. You know what I mean?
Sounds like, yeah, right.
And I think you're being overly generous to go to September. And
what else do? You go back to the monkey story. If this ends up in court and then it costs even more money, we never get it. Our fans never get to see it. If I work with a guy, give him every opportunity to exhaust his chances of getting this into film festival, in the end, he has, what I mean? He's done what he's done, and there's no more reason for us not to have it.
Well, I don't think, because we have it and show it and have it on our website, I don't see how that interferes with the film festival.
It actually helps him if he's got the credit. It actually helps him.
I would think he would look at it and say, there's already a lot of people viewing it. Take it to the film festival anyway.
That's the part that doesn't make sense.
His theory is that the film festivals, nobody wants to pick it up or show it if it's already been seen.
Yeah.
Is their theory. Like, they want to release
First
it.
run.
And first run, so that people come to the film festival to see it, which makes sense. If 10,000 people have already seen it, and there's 10,000 people that probably aren't going to go to the film festival. I've been to a few film festivals, not that 10,000 people show up to them anyways, but
and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I don't think that the listeners of this podcast and the people that are following Big Woods Bucks are necessarily going to too many film festivals. It's a different demographic.
Right. But you wouldn't think I'd ever been to one.
No, I would have never guessed that, to be honest with you. You're right about that.
But no, and you're right. It's just
That sucks. I had no idea that was going on, and I've actually, every time I see a message, I'm like waiting for, because I don't know the details of it or when it was getting released, and this will kind of be good to get it out there and let people know what's going on, and give a little backstory.
Yeah.
But
so that's the goal as of now. I think going forward, I do want to do this again, because we've carried cameramen around for years. And the one thing that happened was I did show this to a person who actually works for a local TV station. And he's very interested in filming next year's hunt. And he kind of knows the backstory. He doesn't know the name of the guy that filmed this one, but he knows the backstory, and he's right up front. Listen, I'll do a job for you for X amount of money. Edit it, and whatever comes out is yours. I don't care how good it is. It's yours. Yeah. And so I think you're right. The contract has to be made in the beginning, and no matter how good it comes out. Right.
So
you own it.
I don't mean to cut you off, but so you had an agreement with this guy, and was there money exchanged?
Absolutely.
You bought it. It's yours.
Yep.
You
absolutely.
bought it.
Well, his theory is
you bought it.
His theory is that what I actually paid wasn't the actual value of the product. He's almost going back to the $8,000 to $12,000.
Yeah, no, I changed what I said. You own it.
Right.
Yeah, you paid for it. You own it.
Doesn't matter if it went to court. He
doesn't
owns
matter
because he's got the whole paper trail of the correspondence.
Let's go after this guy.
Yeah. Well,
we tell him it'll be out in another month.
The other thing I have to be careful of is the organization's name. You know what I mean? The last thing I want is anybody slandering us, because we're always trying to do what's right. So here I am again trying to do what's right. If it comes to that, it comes to that. But in the end, nobody can say I haven't given him ample opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a crazy story, to be honest with you.
Yeah, crazy, huh?
Yeah.
I bet I'm not the first person it's happened to, though.
Oh no, probably not.
No, and I would also bet there's going to be a few people that listen to this that might say, hey, I do filming and editing. I'd love to film some hunts. And
yeah, absolutely.
Along, so.
And it's good. I would love what I learned with the cameraman this year is that I almost want him green. This guy didn't know really anything about the woods. And my instructions was the same instructions I give my clients. You step in my footsteps. Don't touch anything. You know what I mean? When I stop, you stop. When I run, you run. When I go left, you go left. If I stop and point, you look. That's kind of how we went into this. And he really did a good job. He was quiet as a church mouse. Once in a while, he'd psst, psst, and I'd stop, and he would see something that he had to get on film because those guys look at the world differently than we do. So at first I was like, let's get the deer, and then we'll go back and do B-roll. It's not the same. You know what I mean? It's not the same. Yep. So I let him do it. It really, in the end, it didn't slow us down. We still shot that buck in 3.5 hours on that particular day. And then we went back and spent the next 3 days getting B-roll, which all in all reality, probably not a minute and a half of the 3 days of B-roll is actually used. Yeah. That's the funny thing, is that most of it was done, prior to the deer and then the deer. But yeah, it's almost, I don't want another deer hunter necessarily. I don't say that. It's going to be hard for another deer hunter to grab a camera and go with you and let you do what you want to do, because if they're opinionated at all, they're going to be like, hey, I think we should do this. Hey, I think we should do that. No, just follow me.
Yeah, I don't think people would do that. I think they'd feel like it was a privilege to go and they'd do what they were supposed to do, and that.
I mean, Jason's great about that stuff, I would imagine. Yeah. Just follows along. He's actually Jason's probably the kind of guy that you want to listen to if he's got a thought,
Yeah, and he'll go along, and he knows enough to pick his times when to get something. He'll do the same thing. He goes, we got to get this right here, but he knows enough to know there's times to do that, and he knows when the time isn't time to do that.
Right.
So.
They remember it, and you go back and get it, and this kid did that. He's like, hey, we crossed that river, and there was a couple things I wanted to get.
Yeah. Well, I got a lead on a couple guys for this fall, too, to hire to chase somebody around. So
it's just neat to share. That. It's neat to share that. You know what I mean? Even the people that saw it, that actually deer hunt and track deer, when they saw it, they was like, it's just a whole different look, and the way he did it, there was no talk. I didn't talk about chasing a deer. I said 3 or 4 words in the woods. 17 minutes. There's more than 10 words, but there's less than 50 words exchanged in the whole 17 minutes. But the music and the sounds of the woods, because when we're out there, it's dead quiet.
Right.
The only noise we hear is what we make.
And I don't even hear that.
Yeah, really. So he did a great job.
Deaf, I'll tell you.
Yeah, and it gives it a different spin, because you look at some of the shows, the 30-minute outdoor shows on TV, where the guy's explaining why he put his left foot there, or he took his socks off to walk into his bait site, which is still one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It's almost unrealistic. It's like, I don't know. This film is real because, there was nothing out there. No.
Yeah. The other thing I learned about is when I started filming myself there, because it just became more convenient, because, as in the beginning, Chris tried to film a lot, but it was always, you had to organize that. But, me, I get up in the morning, I blow to the wind somewhere in the woods, and I just can take my camera out and start the day off and then do it, and I do have to, because there's nobody behind me to show me doing something, I have to kind of point things out so they'll have the gist of it. But what I found is, like you were saying, Lee, it doesn't slow you down about killing the buck. It actually, I used to think that. I was always thinking, geez, I can't take the camera out, I gotta go kill this buck. But in reality, using the camera, it might actually, because it's all timing, we all know that. It's the timing when you catch up. And having the camera might actually put your timing dead on. Yeah. And it has, obviously, for me, a lot. I started doing them, and I didn't know it was that long, but when we we've been having Ethan there edit those and putting them on the club, my films. My first one was in 2010 that I filmed myself.
Your self-filmed hunts are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do a good job with those.
Yeah, and the first one I looked at, because he did that one the other day, and I was like, and I can tell it was my first one because I actually...
You looked a lot younger?
Yeah. I didn't have no gray in my beard back then. But I didn't, a couple of times, like I didn't turn the camera on myself. I was talking and filming something that I was talking about, and it's really not the way to do it. You film something, put the camera on and tell them what you see, and, it's more interesting. So, but that was a learning curve.
I've noticed it just with, like even with shed hunting. I enjoy watching, like on social media, when people post their videos, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, post the videos of them walking up on their sheds. I enjoy those videos because it is kind of like being there and, what did they find? There was one actually really good one where the guy found it was a dead moose, died in the fall.
Yeah.
And it was a cool video. But so I started thinking, is that worth filming? Like just having a Tacticam going the whole time you're going and then edit it out. Right. But there's things that happen. We've talked about it before where guys that spend all the time in the woods, there's things you do in the woods, that you don't even think about. But there's, it might be, crossing a stream and having to get a log across it and work, whatever it is. If you document all that, it is some people find it interesting to watch just because it's like another adventure being out there. And even if it's something as kind of mundane as walking and shed hunting, there's value to it with recording it, and
yeah. But I think, like you was saying about crossing the stream, you need somebody to capture that, like Lee did in his,
Right. Yeah. You don't get it as good with point of view.
No.
So I think there's, we've been experimenting with this stuff. So I think we should really put in the effort to have some cameramen go with the different guys this fall. And
I agree, and I think the people that listen to this podcast and the people that follow us on what we do, really, I don't personally feed enough information into the organization, and I know that, but I do like to see those videos, Joe, because I start my day at 5 and usually get done at 7, and I love to be in the woods, but this time of year I can't, so I'll 4 o'clock in the morning I'll start scrolling through, and it's neat to see them guys that are out there antler hunting, and even the turkey videos, I look at them and say, cool, it gets my day going,
Yeah.
But I think we have a market out there for some good video. I really believe that people want to know what's going on. I think Deer Camp at Parlin Lodge should have a cameraman.
Yeah. I think we'll have some people up. Jason's planning on it, spending more time last year. He just couldn't because of finishing his house and trying to get that done. And we'll see. I'm working on some angles, but I think we can have some people around and even film us storytelling at night and all of that. Hey, Hal here. Just want to take a minute to talk about the hunting club. And you can join by going right online at bigwoodsbucks.com. But anyways, I've got all my information is going in there. And it's a place where you can get together and look at my films, tips, writings, and all of that. And the best part is there's forums for you to communicate with the rest of the club members, talk about big wood stuff and all of that. So anyways, $36 a year, cheaper than getting a Starbucks once a day. So join up and hope you see you on there.
Hey guys, Joe here. Wanted to take a few minutes to talk about Lake Parlin Lodge. We're a 4-season lodge located just south of Jackman. We've got cabins, lodge rooms, mini lodge. We're a big snowmobile destination in the winter, full restaurant, bar, all the amenities that you need for your trip. Open obviously through the summer, right on the lake. Kayaks, canoes, all included with the cabin. We also do a lot of weddings, so if you're looking for a destination wedding, we can do a wedding up to 200 people. And, of course, we've got our hunting season, moose season, deer season. So check us out. We're at lakeparlinlodge.com. Planning my Alaska trip here next year, my moose hunt. I go down those wormholes all the time, the moose hunting videos from Alaska. And it's good, man.
Yeah.
There's some really good hunts and some really cool things that people capture, and everyone's got a camera now, so it's all out there and easy to find.
Yep.
But
Chris came up on my last deer clinic there and did some filming in the woods, and that should come out pretty good. He's gonna edit it down into like clips, you know what I mean, short clips and stuff, and tips, I guess you'd call them. And I guess probably most of those will go into the hunting club side of it for the members. But
did I see that you found a shed up there one of those weeks?
Pair match set, laying right side by side. Yeah, this was a funny story. So we had the guys. I think that was the second week. The first weekend we went, there was still quite a bit of snow in the woods, and we struggled just to get to where I wanted to get them to. And we walked through snow most of the way. There was bare ground, but there was most places we were walking in 6 to 12 inches of snow, and then you'd hit some bare ground. But then when we got over in that side, I call Signpost City there, it sits over in the sun a little bit, and it was bared up quite a bit. But in the green growth, we couldn't go anymore. It was right up over your knees still. So we didn't get very far that time when we was, going in there. But then the next week, most of the snow had gone. There was still some snow in the green, and stuff. But so we got there, and I said, let's take I hadn't been over in some of that country for years. And I mean, I know one of the places had been, I think I found that area 20 years ago, And I said, let's go down and we'll go scout the brook. I remember years ago there was a few signposts up the back of this brook, And so we spread out, kind of just worked it, and we'd find the brown ash, and the guys was learning how to find it. But anyways, I couldn't find this other spot where it was a little hub place with some signposts, and I looked, and I know I was right in the right area, but evidently it's just gone to the wayside. What they do there just wasn't any fresh signposts. So, but I told the guys, I said, we were sitting there on a log eating a lunch, and I said, I remember I found an old lumber camp up in here, and I said it was pretty close to that signpost area, and I said it was like a trickle that run down out of the hardwoods, and I said, and that old lumber camp was there. I said, let's see if we can find that. So I said, I think it must be this trickle. We were sitting right beside it eating a sandwich, We didn't go 150 yards up that trickle, and I said, look for an old rusty oil drum in the woods. Guy says, right here. We walked right to that old lumber camp. I haven't been there in 20 years, And they got a kick out of it because this one was a real old one, and they'd come in from Canada because there was no roads from anywhere else back
Still
then.
intact? Has the roof and
Oh, no.
Oh, it's just flattened.
No. You can't even see the rim of it because what happened with them lumber camps, usually they built them for one winter. They built they cut spruce logs, and they built a little camp for the winter, and that was the end of it. They left it. They usually had a felt paper or an asphalt roll roof, and those would rot away in so many years. And this one, sometimes you find like the perimeter with the logs all rotted right down, and it almost looks like a little foundation square, it might be a foot high or something. This one, you can't see any even remnants of a camp. It's so gone, and all the stuff is mostly under the leaves and everything. I mean, everything's mostly gone. Because the oil drums are 55-gallon. We found another one, too, so those stick out, but everything's just almost obliterated. We found a nice old cork stopper green bottle, and looked like an old cannon jar of some sort. It was nothing I'd ever seen, but it had some fancy design on it. It's full of moss. And then we found the old sled that they pulled the logs with the horses. Really? We found the steel because the wood was rotted off it. It had wooden runners with steel under them, and the whole steel was there. You could, there was bent into the shape. It was kind of a cool find, really. I mean,
I bet.
It was old. And anyways, we was all kind of looking around there, and one of the guys had kind of gone up the trickle another 75 yards, and he goes, hey, guys, you got to come over here. We all thought he found something cool from the lumber camp. We run over them two moose antlers side by side. That bull must have laid there, and boop, they dropped off. And the funny part was there was hardly any moose sign. I mean, there was some droppings here and there. Never saw one moose rub or anything.
They weren't browns, though, were they?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. From that winter, they were there. And
funny.
No moose sign, no rubs or anything. Yeah.
Just a lone moose out there.
Yeah. Hanging out.
Hardwoods or?
Yeah, pretty much in the hardwoods, yeah. Down in a little trickle. It was like right underneath a spruce tree, like along that trickle, but mostly hardwoods there. Kind of a place you'd never look for an antler.
Yeah, that's a cool score.
What about back to the deer camp? Are you booked for Parlin? Are you booked for?
Oh,
hunts?
you mean for the deer hunts in the fall?
Yep.
Yeah, the guided hunts are booked up. I need a couple more guided weeks from you guys.
Yep.
I'm tapped out.
Yep.
I know Joe's tapped out,
Yep.
but Lee ain't. Lee just wants to be tapped out.
Yep.
Yeah, he wants to be on the injured reserve list.
Yeah, injured reserve.
If he gets his buck, he'll guide somebody probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I won't throw that out the window.
Well, I've got.
I think there's got to be a waiting list. There's
We've
got
got
to be.
third week is completely. We have nothing left.
The
for
lodging.
third
The third week, the lodging's all booked. Both between the guided and the American plan. We can take. We got plenty of room for American plans. It's just that there was only so many weeks that the guys could guide, but I think we should make. If anybody's listening and wants to be on a list, I should start a waiting list if anybody can come kind of short notice.
Yeah.
And as I told the guys that too in my deer clinics, that if I happen to get lucky and get one right off, then I probably would guide another week. So, we'll have some. If anybody wants to be on a waiting list, they can email me or something.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It's going to be
here before we know it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Going to be a lot of life around the lodge this November.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody listening, if they want to get in on it and come up, do the American plan or something, have meals and lodging, and chew the fat with us.
Nice
we gotta
spot
get that,
too.
Yeah, we got to get that game pole built too.
Oh yeah, that's on the project list, right next to fixing groomers.
We got to have lead. Yeah, we got to have lead design it.
Oh, and by the way, I'm alone on it right now. I got no help, so that helps too.
Yeah.
Lee will have to figure out the structural integrity of the game pole, figuring on X amount of 200-pound bucks hanging on it.
Yeah,
right?
I got my construction master right here.
All right.
How big we want it? We want it at least 12 feet long, don't we? Gotta hang four bucks anyways. 5.
Yeah, you space them out about 2-3 feet apart. Yeah, 10, 12
anyways, because my buck's gonna be 24 inches.
Yeah.
Beam,
Listen to this guy.
Yeah.
Hey, mine will be if I get the one I got on trail camera, huh, Joe?
Oh, you're going to mention that?
Trail camera. Where was that trail camera? Oh,
That-
In the woods.
That
is that my old
That will
stomping
be-
grounds?
that will be public one day,
No.
right, Hal?
No,
After you kill them, that'll be public.
Nope.
no.
Because there's 2 other ones on the trail cam that.
No. I'm not talking about the location.
Oh,
I'm talking
yeah.
about just the picture.
Oh, yeah. It will be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
I think it's the.
we touching on that now? Are we going to talk about this?
I haven't. This is the first I've heard it. Believe it or not.
Lee, is it okay if I show him, Hal? This is going to be good.
I think didn't I show you that picture?
I don't think you've seen it.
Am I holding back from you, Lee?
Oh,
All right,
you're
I'm-
smart. You hold back.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So I got this Buckley on trail camera. Now,
Chris is editing this right now, and
Yeah,
he's just sick right now.
Yeah, so if there's a blank spot in this for about 5 minutes, it's Chris's fault. He's editing it out. Because Chris said, don't you tell anybody about that. Well, nobody knows where it is. I put trail cameras in various places.
Right.
But I've had the trail camera, like I had it 1 year on that same couple of signposts.
Holy shit!
That means Lee's looking at the picture now.
He's
Now
putting his
getting
glasses on.
He's looking at it on Joe's phone, getting his glasses on. But I've had a trail camera down there for several years.
That's without my glasses. That's unbelievable.
That's
That's a Boone and Crockett buck.
yeah. I
In
think
Maine.
it'll score
And there's video
over
too.
170. I got videos of it.
Holy shit!
He came by this.
Is that a
sign-
big drop on his right?
Yes, it is.
Holy thing looks like a canoe paddle hanging down.
Yeah, funny you should notice that, Lee.
There. Holy.
I picked that up on the video when Hal
That's
sent
a
it to
hint.
me.
You just gave me a hint.
So I've had a trail camera in this area for off and on for a few years, and I've I've got two other 10-pointers at the same camera, at the same...
Lee's wheels are turning so fast right now.
I was thinking, keep talking, Hal.
Yeah, I got two other 10-pointers there, and one has been exactly the same rack for 3 years at least. So he was a mature buck then when he first started coming, and he looks identical racks every year. And then there's actually another one that showed up new, but he comes to the signpost. He's a really heavy 10 with a split brow point, the same length. It's like it splits, and they're long, pretty long brow points on that one, like 5 inches probably, and a couple of smaller bucks. I think there's 5 or 6 bucks coming to these. There's a big, pretty good sized signpost, and then 2 little ones. There was actually at this spot, there was 4 little ones, and they've killed 2 of them, and there's only 2 left, and they might kill them other ones before they're done. But this buck here showed up this year, and he goes by. Lucky I got it, because he doesn't come to the signpost. He's just walking by, and he came 3 weeks in a row in the daylight, and he's like
Same direction, walking same direction each time.
Like 20 feet from them signposts, and he doesn't even, he's got to have to smell them, I would think, and he doesn't go to them because they're not his. He was out of his area because he's never been on them. I mean, and he's obviously an old buck because he's got a big drop point and all of that. So he's like wandered out of his territory over and trying to capture some new territory or something.
He's as good as a Maine buck gets.
Yeah,
it's the biggest one I've ever seen. It's an 8. It's only an 8-pointer.
And
it's over.
Next picture anyone's ever going to see of this is when it's dead.
Yeah, it's over 2 feet inside. I think it looks to be 2 feet inside.
Oh, it's got to be. It's got to be 16 inches, anyways, off the top of his head.
Yeah, I think the brow points, which is odd for up north, usually don't have long brow points. I think them brow points are 12 inches.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. From top of his head to tip, got to be 16 inches.
He's got mass, he's got width, he's got drop.
And I think them
I ain't going to sleep tonight.
I think the beams are probably crowding 30 inches. 28 for sure. They got to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you go in
Chris,
and look for his...
We're just wasting our breath right now because Chris is cutting all this out.
Yeah. So, what do they say on the TV shows? He's on the hit list.
He's
on the hit list. Yeah. Number 1 on the hit list.
But I will say that, there's always been, we've talked about trail cameras and everything, and I'm kind of razzed for liking trail cameras a lot and everything, but that's a pretty good point for having a trail camera.
If that don't motivate you, nothing will.
It told you a lot. You've got the video, you've got pictures, told you kind of his travel route, and it's consistent. And the other thing is, 2 of those pictures are during the daylight during hunting season. Hal dropped that camera in there and never went back, didn't get it till the spring.
Yeah. That's funny. Showed you his travel route. This one buck passes through one spot 3 times in 1 year.
And never been there.
And we consider it a travel route.
Yeah.
That's consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, for a big woods bucks, that's about as consistent as you'll ever get.
No, but I mean out west, they go into the same pasture every night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to me, the most important thing that I picked up from it was that this buck showed up there and didn't go to the signpost, didn't even smell him. He was just traveling by there. And so now he might have, like I've had the camera there before on that same tree, but he might have gone by there the other years. But since he doesn't go to them signposts, which I think that was my learning thing about the signposts. I figured any buck that went near one was going to check it out. But this guy don't.
Especially the dominant buck.
Yeah, he's got to be one of the dominant ones. But I believe...
And he's searching because that's all he's doing. It's that time of year,
Yeah, I know he's coming to get there. I got an idea where he's coming from, and he's got a long way to travel to get there, and he's swinging through because where that is there's
secret.
There's more does, though. You know what I mean? There's quite a few does in that area.
I'm holding him back, Chris. I'm holding him back. He's just...
All right.
It was, I'll tell you, when you sent me that was a shocker. Yeah. I saw that, and I got the video first. The video is good. When you get your specs on there, I'll show you your...
Looks like something in Alberta.
Oh, yeah. You should see when he walks down through the woods like the boss. His head swinging back and forth, getting through the woods is It's
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And the woods ain't even that thick, and his head's swinging back and forth to get around stuff,
I think that video would be more popular than Lee's video.
Oh, yeah. That's easy.
And Hal owns the rights to that one.
Yeah.
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 But
Good.
no, that was an eye opener to see that.
Yeah. Everybody out there listening, they're probably going to start booking the American plan hunts now. They want to
Well, the
Yeah.
thing about the American plan is if I'm guiding and we tag out early, I got no problem grabbing one of them American plan guys and
Whoa.
you know what I mean?
Whoa.
Take 'em.
Yeah, he went from not guiding at all to now he's going to be grabbing.
Then it's kind of a, because when things happen like that in my world, usually good things happen, but
Yeah.
be good.
They better have a little bit of cash in their pocket, right?
No. I'll charge him. Like I used to shoot bears with this one guy. He used to guide over in eastern part of the state, and he was just starting out. And one year we treat 63 bears, which is I think it's a lot,
Yeah.
And but we worked hard, and we were young. We was in our 30s then, and so I showed up. I grabbed a shotgun one day and ran up north. I knew about where they were hunting. I pulled up beside of his truck, and I said, "How's it going?" He said, "Good. We got one big sow up on top of, I think it was Blanchard Mountain." He said, "I got another big one treed on the other side of this river right here, but I got to go get my dogs." I said, "Well, I'll walk in with you." He said, "I can't walk." I says, "Why?" He says, "I broke my leg last week."
Oh, jeez.
So he says, "I'm waiting for them guys to come out of the woods." So I said, "Well, let's go. I'll get you in there." So he puts his arm around me, and we hobble in. It's probably half a mile. I mean,
To have video of that.
tougher than nails. I mean, I was thinking that's got to hurt. Cast right to his crotch, yeah. So we get in, and there's this 300-pound bear sitting in the crotch of a tree with the dogs around it. I'm like, oh, shit, look at that. He said, "Geez, too bad, let that bear go." I says, "If you don't mind, I got a couple slugs in the truck. I'll run back and grab them. I'll shoot that bear." And being him, he looked at me, he goes, "Wait a minute, what's it worth?" And because I've already headed for the truck. Now, here's a guy with a broken leg sitting at the bottom of a tree, and he's leaned up against another tree, and I'm headed for my truck to get shells, and a gun. He said, "What's it worth?" And I looked back at him. I said, "I'll give you $1 a pound for it." He says, "Deal." So I ran out to the truck, grabbed a shotgun, 2 slugs, ran back in there and killed that bear, weighed exactly 300 pounds. So the next year, I was up there. It might have been 2 years later. I got a picture of that one in here somewhere. We had a client. He had a client, and I was helping him, and we was trying to get that client across the river. So we're standing in the river, and we're over our knees, and the water's wicking up our britches, right? And it's getting cold. And the dogs are coming right for the river. So I stopped the client in the river. And there's the 3 of us standing there. And I said, "As soon as that bear hits that water, you start putting the lead to him." Yeah. That bear come down and just touched the water. And I said, it was 55 yards tops. I said, "Shoot, shoot, shoot." For some reason, he didn't shoot. The bear looked upstream and saw us, went right back into the woods. So the dogs come down, obviously turn, they go in. He bays up about 300 yards from there. So I said to the client, the guy I was with, he said, "Come on, let's go." The client says, "I ain't going across that river." It was probably, waist deep. I said, "Did you see the size of that bear?" He says, "I did. I'm going back to the truck." So Brian was the guy's name. He looks at me and he goes, "Lib, $1 a pound?" I said, "Yep, $1 a pound." And I went back to the truck, grabbed my gun, and headed across, got across the river, and went over there and killed that bear, 422 pounds.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, $1 a pound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was worth
I'll
it.
shoot bear like that all day long.
Yep.
Yeah. I shot 7. I think 5 of them was with him. Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
Sounds like a good story.
$1 a pound.
Yeah.
You have a couple questions this week, Hal?
Yeah. I always got questions. What do you want me to ask you one?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Hal here. Just wanted to take a minute to talk about the Woodman Arms muzzleloader. We got them all set on the website to build your own or buy your Big Woods Bucks model, either one you want to do. But anyways, we've tested it a lot, and I can honestly say it's the most accurate muzzle loader on the market, best to carry in the Big Woods or anywhere else at 5.5 pounds. You can't go wrong with it. So get on there and check it out.
How are you doing turkey hunting, Joe?
I don't answer those questions. I'm not a turkey hunter anyway. I don't turkey hunt. Never go. Went one time.
Yeah.
Had a good time with Hal yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a little old, so I guess it wasn't yesterday when this comes out. But
we don't know who was guiding who.
That happens with guides.
Yeah. So last week, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about questions right now. So I decided to guide a turkey hunter, and he ended up, he didn't even know I was he was my first turkey hunting client. I never guided turkey hunters because I never had time to, because you got to go down below where there's a reasonable amount of turkeys. You got to go down the middle, at least the middle part of the state or the southern. And I know some pretty good spots down there, but I just took friends or relatives or whatever and family. And so this young fella over in Vermont, he asked me about someone guiding him for turkey hunting. And I said, well, got thinking about it. I said, well, let me look into it. And so finally I decided, I said, I'd guide you. I said, I'll take you if you want to go. Oh, that'd be great. He said, that'd be great. So anyways, he comes over last week, and I was coming back. I always ride the back roads on the way, if I'm down below there somewhere downriver. And I see these two big strutters out in the field with a couple of hens in this piece of woods there, and I said, well, they're going to be in there. So I went down a few days later with him, and we get in there, and there wasn't a peep of a turkey. Couldn't hear a turkey anywhere gobbling. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So here it is. It's my first day. I got this guy guiding him, and I can't even hear a turkey. So, but I had looked on the maps there, my EarthMate app. I got on the computer, and I looked at the whole area there. I always like to try to find them, like hidden fields and stuff like that, or power lines. I like to hunt power lines. But anyways, I found this good-sized hidden field that I could walk down a power line and wasn't too far through to get into the field, So I said, well, let's go over there, hit that back field. I told him, I said, I never been in there. So we called our way in, and we get just where you could start to see the daylight from the field, and I struck a gobbler right there. And it was pretty close, 100 yards. So we got down and gobble once in a while, but I could tell it wasn't cutting me off, It was just gobbling, And finally, it moved up the field a little bit, but still close. So I got up where I could see, and I peeked out, and there's 5 longbeards together. 5.
That doesn't happen.
No, I've never seen it.
I don't think it's possible. I think you're lying.
Oh, yeah. I've seen 3 before, and but there was 5, and then there was a hen and a jake, and the jake was kind of following the hen up the field, and these 5 longbeards were like kind of just staying together, and they'd all fan out, and they were all like shoulder to shoulder, like marching up through there like soldiers. And I'm like, but they wouldn't come in the woods. I couldn't call them in. I'm like, that's pretty strange, So they started heading up the field. I said, well, we'll get in the woods and get around ahead of them somewhere and try to call them in above, because sometimes if you get where they want to go anyways, it's easier. So we cut around one time, and we didn't get ahead of them. We cut around again, and we got ahead of them, but they wouldn't gobble. They shut up, and they wouldn't gobble. I'm like, boy, this is the strangest thing I ever seen. So anyways, make a long story short, they went back down. When we couldn't see them, they ended up going back down the field and disappearing. So we don't even know where they went. We hunted all around, and not a gobble. So I took him down to another place, and he ended up the next day shooting a nice long beard with good hooks. So I told Joe, I said, I found a hot spot. I said, you want to go turkey hunting? We made arrangements for, what was that, Tuesday, I guess it was, day after Memorial. Yeah. So I took Joe, we walk in there, and we just got sat down, and this dog starts barking. It was just 4:30, just the time when you're going to hear. And this dog, and it was...
I've never heard anything like it in the woods. It's annoying.
We thought it might have been a coyote, because it would have that coyote yip once in a while, then it would bark. It never
took a breath.
Took a breath for probably 15 or 20 minutes.
Yep.
And you couldn't hear nothing else because it was a quiet morning. And this thing is like a half a mile away, but it sounded like it was 100 yards from us in the woods.
It did. It was unbelievable.
It was the craziest thing.
I never wanted to shoot a dog so bad in my life.
It was so irritating, and figured the owner must have let it outside to do its business or something. And we couldn't hear a turkey. You couldn't hear nothing over it. But we were close enough to where them birds, I figured, had roosted the week before. So I had to yelp real loud just to get above them, the dog, and nothing answered. And I go, well, they ain't right here. They'd answer to that. So we moved up through the woods. I said, let's just go up along the ridge in the field. And we got up there, and all of a sudden the dog stopped barking. It's like they let it back in, and it was quiet again. And I hit my call, and we heard one off a ways. So we headed up there. We get up on the ridge, struck the call again, and they gobbled. It sounded like two together right below us. And there was like a little trail there in the woods. I said, he'll probably come right up the trail. So me and Joe get down. He's right-handed. I'm left. We're going to try to get a double, right? So we get down against this big yellow birch tree, called a little bit. Oh, they lit right up. They were hot. They're coming. Next thing I know, they didn't come up the trail. They come up the ridge, like right
above us,
kind of like in line with us. And they gobbled. You could hear the wings dragging on the ground when they gobbled. They were so close. But there was a little brush in between us. And I'm thinking to myself, they don't want to come through that brush. They almost never do that. And there was another little trail on the ridge, and I go, they're going to come down. I told Joe they're going to come down that trail, but we couldn't move. You could see them a little bit flicking through the brush, and we couldn't move. So I'm looking at the brush just in case one decides to come through it. And I'm looking out of the corner of my eye up the trail, because we'd kind of come down over the hill about maybe 10 yards from the intersection. All of a sudden, I can see a bird coming, walking down the trail, like my feet are in the trail. And he's walking right towards me. Then I see another one. I go, yeah, that's both of them coming. I said, Joe, don't move. Well, they walked down like, I don't know how close, because I didn't turn my head, but they might have been like 15 feet from me. And they didn't like it. They didn't see a hen. They didn't like it. And they didn't spook, though. And they turned around, went back up the hill. And they went out of sight, started gobbling again. And it was every time you could hear two gobbling. I said, that's two of them. So me and Joe, they went off sound like about 60, 70 yards. And I'm like, they ain't going to come back here, because they didn't see what they wanted. So we low crawled back up the trail, and there was a screen of brush. And then there was a little gap there. And we turned around and sat down. I struck the call, gobbling again. They're going to come this time. And then I heard, and there was one like 20 yards from us. And I figured it must be a hen, putting, head us, And Joe saw it go through an opening, right? But it must have been back too.
Yeah, I couldn't see enough of it to know what it was. A turkey. I didn't know what it was or how big it was.
Yeah, I just figured it was a hen. But anyways, and then them birds kept gobbling over there. And then they went down over the hill towards the field, and sat down and waited again. And all of a sudden, they drifted off, and it sounded like they were way off. So we snuck down the hill, and we peeked out. It sounded like they were out down the end of the field. And we peeked down. There's nothing. We crept back up the hill, and we didn't go 30 yards. Nowhere. And I looked down, and there's like they took some sand out of the bank there, and it was a strutting area. And they were right there. It sounded like, because they were down over the bank, it sounded like they were far, but they were right there. So Joe said, I'm going to put the low crawl on them. I said, don't snap no sticks.
Oh, you make this stuff up after. I got within
45
yards.
45.
And we're sitting there watching them. I was just waiting, I mean, there was all five of them.
Yeah,
five gobblers.
Once we could see them, it was that same bunch of five gobblers all together, all Long Beach.
So they're all there, and they're gobbling. And, I mean, I'm just waiting and, watching this one particular. I'm looking at them to see which one's the biggest and all. And I went just to ease forward just a little bit more to get my gun in a better spot, and my left foot drug a stick in the back, and it cracked, and all their heads went up.
All the periscopes come up.
I said, oh, here we go. So they were getting ready to bolt, and I fired, and I hit them, but I obviously didn't hit them good enough. So we took the gun back, went and
patterned it. We got to pattern this thing. I never see such a crappy pattern in all my life. There was
Not
four.
a good combination of gun and
Based
choke.
off 45 yards, there was like 4 pellets that even hit around the head area, and the rest were all real low, like a foot low.
Yeah.
I think he's got something wrong with the choke or
I
something.
don't mess around with turkey hunting too much. I'll probably, on the way back today, I think we're going to stop. I'm just going to mess around and see if we can't get a little bit better. Because then after going yesterday, I was like, yeah, I do enjoy it. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Wouldn't mind going out before it ends Saturday.
Running and gunning. He's usually told me a road hunter for turkeys. He likes to ride.
Oh, you see him in the field and then make a plan and go in after him. But
yeah.
You do any of it, Lee?
No. I don't know. I mean, I haven't shot a ton of turkeys, but I shot a few turkeys years ago, and I just never really got into it like a lot of people do. And it's fun when you're out there. I can remember the last time I guided a turkey hunter. I remember the whole time I was out there turkey hunting with him, I'm thinking, I hope he don't miss the first one because I want to get back to work. Sure enough, I brought this 8-inch beard and had some pretty good spurs on him, and he come marching across an old cornfield. And the whole time I'm thinking, get your ass over here so I can kill you, so I can go back to work. And the guy got the bird, and we had a great day, and everything was fine. I said to myself, that's the last time because I wasn't even into it. You know what I mean? You got to be into it. And there's guys out there that are into it.
Oh, yeah.
And I just wasn't into it. So I think that was the last time I wasn't going to take a client out if I wasn't into it, you know.
I've always been I could take it or leave it, but it is fun when they're coming and they're gobbling their heads off and they're close. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you get out in the woods and run and gun, that's my favorite way. You know, I just walk around, just keep yelping, and eventually you'll get one that'll hit your back and see if you can get him to come in. But so,
well, that's too bad to end the podcast at Joe's expense. But
yeah, what do we
are we ending?
Are we out of time?
We're about out of time.
It's the first time you've ever kept track of time, Lee. What, you got like something to do or something? Like,
yeah, he's got to work. That's all he's thinking about.
Al and I, we're all set for the day. We,
you gotta leave here. Go check it. That's the life of the rich and famous.
Oh yeah.
Not the poor and needy.
We drive.
We're sitting here in Lee's $1 million showroom.
Yeah, we drive over
looking at all the fancy furniture that the millionaires buy.
Yeah. Drive over because Lee's the busiest one of all three of us today, so we drive over, and now he's still thinking about work.
Yeah, the funny thing is when he's busy, we come over here, but when we're over there, he never makes the time. He just, I can't make it today, boys. I can't.
No, I've only missed 3 podcasts.
Yeah, he goes,
and that's because you did 2 in one day.
Yeah, and then the Libby fan club comes out. And
he goes, hey,
they're calling for.
Can you get Mikey to fill in for me? You know?
Chris called me last week, and he said, that's the last one you'll miss. We renegotiated the salary, and so here I am.
Right. The salary?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
you and Chris have something worked out?
Yeah. I guess I'm not part of that, I guess.
No, you're just the CEO.
No, he's the CEO. I'm the president.
Oh, you're just the president.
Yeah, that's different responsibilities.
So are we doing a question or not?
I think we should save the questions for
next episode.
The next episode, because we might get quite involved with them.
Well, those question and answer ones seem to be those are fun.
Yeah, we'll do that next week.
Okay, we'll do it next week.
Next episode, not next week. What do we do every 2 weeks? But yeah, we'll do the questions. So anyway, what else?
Oh, I thought you were going to end it.
We out of time?
According to Lee, we are.
I thought you were the timekeeper.
Mr. Busy Man. Yeah, I mean, we're sufficiently into it. We can end this and we can end this and feel good about ourselves.
Well, I'm sitting here, so everybody knows I'm sitting here at this beautiful table with a dozen donuts in front of me and an empty coffee cup.
I thought when you gave me the signal, I thought you wanted me to eat the donuts.
Well, you guys used to give me a break after halfway. We'd break for a minute so I could get regrouped, but no breaks now.
So that everyone knows, the reason this podcast is ending is because Lee needs a coffee.
It's a reason.
Coffee and a donut.
Yeah, it's a reason. All right.
Anybody out there saying to themselves that they can sit and talk for an hour and a half without a coffee and donut,
something wrong with them?
is lying.
Don't you have any help around here that comes and pours coffee for you?
Yeah, she'd pour it all right on me. Here's your
That's the
freaking
best
coffee.
reaction that I've seen from her today yet, Hal. I don't think she liked that very much.
Yeah, I'll pour you coffee. All right.
Oh.
Yeah.
But anyways, people ought
Yeah.
to get over here and see this showroom, or go online and check us out. The new website is finally up. Facebook, Pinterest, Etsy, Instagram, you name it. But we had a little open house here at Main Mountain Millworks last weekend.
Memorial Day
weekend. And we put the open sign out, and it's a steady flow of traffic. You know, a lot of people, especially with the cabins around here, and I'm sure Jackman, anywhere in the state, a lot of them old camps that our grandfathers and great-grandfathers built got all these little nooks and crannies in them. And you can't just go buy a piece of furniture anywhere and shove it in a hole, you know. So what we're finding is a lot of people are showing up saying, I got this little spot in the cabin, I'd like to have something built in. Well, when we first started, I didn't really want to do the custom built-in stuff, but it seems to be what we're getting the most requests to do, you know.
Yeah.
And it actually is kind of fun because you go out there and you measure it and you build something that's really one of a kind piece. You know what I mean? When you're done, and it takes that corner in the camp and makes it into a functional space, and that's fun. Plus the furniture is fun. It's all fun.
yeah. The other thing is you got my honey's new stuff over here too.
I do. Yeah, the Beyond the Branches, that line of product that Deb's doing is actually pretty popular. We're selling some of it. It's I think it's going to be a great product line. Yep.
Yeah, as soon as she gets her website done, she ain't even launched it yet. She's been making all this stuff all winter and spring, and she's just waiting on her website, and she's making these. Hunter soaps.
Yeah,
There'll be a big item coming up.
Yeah.
But she's making the soaps and the creams for the gals and the pain creams and the all
that
natural
pain cream.
stuff.
Yeah, that pain cream is actually CBD free, which is a big deal. Because people still have a stigma about the pot and CBD and THC and all that. But this is a CBD free oil or cream, and I've used it, and I use it at night. I got a bad ankle, and at the end of the day, I take that and rub a little bit on it, and
We can stop the show right there.
you want to see my bad ankle? Shit. But so
you got to send a jar down to Chris. He's been using it on his toe. He had his toe bone spur taken out of his toe and had it fused. But then his boy Sammy pulled his groin. He's playing. He plays two sports. He swims and he plays basketball. That's probably over, but he swims. But he's been using it, so he said send a jar down.
But you go onto our website or Facebook and get a hold of Kayla over here at the office, and she'll hook you up.
And get you a coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's been fun getting together and just jaw-jacking again.
It's been a couple months since we've been together.
Yeah. Well, since we all been together.
Yeah, since we all been
together. Yeah. Al and I are sick of each other already.
Yeah. So we didn't have anybody to interview. Well, we didn't want to do an interview. We wanted to get back to a little bit of basics here.
Yeah.
So anyways.
The next episode, we're going to do the question and answer.
Yeah, we got to answer some questions for a question of the month.
That'll be fun.
It'll be fun. We'll get together and do that. So, all right. Well, been fun. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Till next time, good luck on the trail.